What's up, you bastards? It's Lore here with another fucking Lore Starts video brought to you by Lore. So, after seeing how much you guys enjoyed me talking in the first one, I definitely have decided that this is going to be a series where maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks I talk about something you guys want me to talk about. And in the last video, I got a comment on there asking me my opinion on the Master Chief Collection. Now, we're going to go through my opinion on Halo 2 Anniversary. We're going to go through my opinion of the multiplayer, the Forge, and the theater. So, for campaign, we're just not going to talk about CE 3 and 4 because while they're impressive and they look nice with the new 60 frames 1080p, I really think that Halo 2 Anniversary deserves my full attention for this video, for the campaign section. So, let me just say I think Halo 2 Anniversary's campaign really blew me away with how good just how good Saber Interactive did at like remastering it. Because I think, something they had to their advantage was that the game was already built, already optimized for split screen, already had everything ready to go, and the only thing they had to do was they had to do graphics. And I think what Saber did, or what Saber got that really let them make the game as fucking great as it is in terms of visuals, is they got a full 3-year development cycle that most developers get to make a game, like, in total. Like, 343, they got 3 years to make Halo 5. Saber Interactive, they got 3 years to just, they had 3 years to just update graphics, and they did a fucking great job. The game is gorgeous, and in my opinion, Halo 2 Anniversary is the best looking Halo game to date, including against Halo 5. I think it looks better than Halo 5, and I think that really shows just how much that extra time they got really can help, because 343 had to write a story, they had to design the game, they had to have the art design around it, they had to program everything for Halo 5, and Halo 2 Anniversary, and Halo 5's not a bad-looking game by any means, it's just that Halo 2 Anniversary, when Saber picked it up, it was already ready to go, and the only thing they had to do was update the visuals, and they did. And let me tell you, there are some parts of 2 Anniversary that just blow my mind. Like, there's the level Uprising, where you have to go against the brutes after after the Arbiter finds out that the Great Schism had gone on, and that the elites and the brutes are having a civil war at High Charity. And there's that whole forest section, and it's just gorgeous. It is so beautiful. And the colors on the plants are just, there's such a rich variety in the greens they use. Like, there's light green, there's dark greens, it looks like a natural forest, and it blew me away. And that's just one area. There's the Forerunner areas, which are just rife with so much metallic color, I guess that makes sense. Like, so many beautiful grays and blues and all these different tones and shades, and like just the whole game just looks gorgeous, and I love what Saber did. And Halo 2 is my favorite Halo game, so after seeing how truly impressive Saber did with 2 Anniversary, it was one of the most euphoric gaming experiences I've ever had. I felt so good playing Halo 2 Anniversary, because while my first Halo game was Halo 3, I had finished Halo 3 and then I went back and I played the first two. And as a kid, Halo 2 just was... I can't explain what it is about Halo 2 that I love so much. Because I know that the level design is kind of linear, but it's linear in a way that works. I don't know how to explain it. There's something about it. It might be the fact the story is so goddamn good, but or it might be the fact that the AI are also excellent quality, and I think the only game in Halo's history that even rivals Halo 2's AI would be Halo Reach's. But yeah, I really, just something about Halo 2 gets me, and it kind of grabbed me by the dick and said, "Hey, Lore, this is what a fucking great game is." And, ever since I had played Halo 2, I replay it at least once a month, because it never gets old to me. And Halo 2 Anniversary basically took that and it amplified it, and it made the game even more gorgeous. And it took the amazing gameplay that I think of it, and it basically added amazing visuals to it. So now, not only the game was a great game to play through, it's one of, in my opinion, it's probably one of the best looking games that was ever made. Like, I'm sure it's not the best, but it, definitely an Xbox One for sure. And God, I just can't get over how, like, stricken I was by its beauty when I first got it. And a lot of people say the MCC wasn't worth it. This campaign alone was worth the $50 I paid. Okay, or the $60. This campaign alone was worth my money. I don't care if I had already played the game before and I owned an old copy, the new updated visuals, and it just, I loved it. And not only the visuals too, there were a lot of new soundtracks they did. And I know that there were a lot of rights issues between, like, Incubus's soundtrack and Breaking Benjamin and Hoobastank, all these bands that made soundtracks for Halo 2. And I know that 343 had some trouble with the rights, because those rights belonged to the bands individually. So I do like that when they had to replace tracks, they replaced them with really good tracks, like, I think of the mission The Arbiter, which, by the way, is my favorite Halo mission. If you didn't know, that is my favorite Halo mission of all time. I think of the Banshee section, where you have to protect Tartarus and his Phantom. And there used to be Follow, and now there's Follow and Flight, and I love the new one even more than the old one, which is impressive because the old Halo 2 soundtrack was my favorite one until the Halo 2 Anniversary soundtrack, and now the Halo 2 Anniversary soundtrack, I would say, is tied with Halo 5 for my favorite. My opinion's changed since my last video. They were pretty much on the same pedestal. But anyway, yeah, just it had so many tracks in it too that were just, it complemented the game perfectly. And when they didn't have to change tracks, they didn't. They just remastered them. And I love how they basically took this game and just remastered it completely. And Saber, did a fantastic job. 343 did a fantastic job getting the correct musical artists to make new tracks and remaster tracks. And I guess what I can say about Halo 2 Anniversary is that it's the perfect example of how a great story, great graphics, great AI, great gameplay mechanics, and just overall just a fucking great job at, like, involving you in the universe. Because remember how in my last video I said that I feel like Halo 3 did not do a good job of involving you with the universe enough? Halo 2 is a game that actually did a fantastic job of doing that. You were, a bunch of the game was on High Charity, and you were you were Chief, and you were fighting amidst the Great Schism, while the elites and the brutes and the jackals and the grunts were all slaughtering each other, and there were hunters everywhere, fighting the brutes, and there were, you know what I mean? And it's just, you just felt like you were in the middle of this huge goddamn conflict, and Halo 2, and the Flood introduced to it, and now there's, like, it's like a four-way battle between, like, 4 different factions. There's the UNSC, the Flood, the brutes, and the elites, and it's just like, holy shit, this game is, there's so much packed into this little Covenant city, or this, well, it's not little, but you know what I mean, and it's just, Halo 2 Anniversary really does a good job of taking an old game that already never gets old for me, and it made it feel so new, and it was such a fun thing to play through. The nostalgia and the, like I said, the euphoria was really incredible, and I've spent 9 minutes talking about it, so that should tell you. But, another thing is, so let's move on to the multiplayer, because I think I've sucked Halo 2 Anniversary's dick enough. So let's talk about the multiplayer now. This is where the MCC obviously has problems. The matchmaking, it was bad, and it's still bad, and, I'm disappointed in the way the Master Chief Collection turned out, multiplayer-wise, but I'm not going to sit there and hate 343, because I know that they were in the middle of developing Halo 5, and I know for a fact that the game's release date got pushed forward, or no, it got pushed forward. They released it earlier than they were planning on doing it, because Microsoft probably wanted to shove it out the door and get money, and I really think that's why the MCC didn't succeed is that I don't think that when you combine like 5 different games into one disc with all of their campaigns, all of their multiplayers, all of their soundtracks, all of the coding in them, and you jumble it all together, I think that what you really need is extensive testing to make sure that everything will be, stable. And I think that Microsoft really pushed MCC out the door, and I think that's ultimately where Halo Master Chief's Collection's multiplayer went wrong, is that, 343 already was in the middle of developing Halo 5, and they couldn't give their full attention to the MCC, which is why Saber was brought in, Blur Studios did cutscenes, you know what I mean. But I just feel like it kind of collapsed at the end there because Microsoft pushed it forward, and I think that's ultimately why the MCC failed in terms of multiplayer. But I am happy that 343 has actually gone back, and they have fixed. I think a lot of people say it's still broken, but in my experience, it's not the best, but it works to the point where every time I kind of want to take a break from Halo 5 and I want to go play a match of Halo 3, it works. I can go on the matchmaking for Halo 3, and I can find a game, and I can play a few Halo 3 matches to kind of take a break from Halo 5. So that's definitely what I think about the multiplayer situation. The Forge is interesting because, as many of you know, I am an avid forger for the most part, and I like a lot of what Halo 2 Anniversary's Forge had, and I also didn't like a lot of it. I liked the fact that we had those wide open canvases. I really enjoyed using those. One of my main problems with Halo 2 Anniversary's Forge was that everything was, it had that stone texture, and it just was really hard to work with, because if you wanted to, say, make like a metal structure, there was only like 20 something blocks that even had metal in it. Everything else was made out of stone. And it was hard because when you do that with the textures of a block, you limit what you can do creatively. And I guess that's how I liked the Forge. It was helpful. The magnets were a lot better than Halo 4's. I liked the fact that there was terrain introduced, and obviously Halo 5 took the terrain and it basically bloated it to the point where it was super useful, and there were so many options with it. So I think Halo 2 Anniversary was an effective testing ground for Halo 5's Forge, and I think it did come out decently. So there's my opinion on Halo 2 Anniversary's Forge. Custom games, I guess, there's not really much you can say about customs because it ultimately falls under the same problem the multiplayer did. I think Microsoft rushed it out the door. I think custom games testing never really fully got, done. There was never enough testing done. There was never enough time to do enough testing. And ultimately the custom game situation is just kind of summed up by the fact that 343 kind of got their feet pulled out from under them by Microsoft, I think. And finally, theater. The theater mode, from my experience, works great. I never had any problems with Halo 2 Anniversary's theater. My Xbox DVR is fucked though, and it's like, that's why I don't make videos pretty much, besides the fact that I suck at making them. But, I can't record any of my clips. They don't go to my Xbox DVR on the website. They don't record at all, and it kind of pisses me off, because it's such a rare problem, and I don't know why my DVR refuses to work, and I don't know. So anyway, the theater works fine though. So, if you guys want my rating on the Master Chief Collection, I would say honestly my personal experience with it is I would give it I'd say out of 10 I'd give it an 8. Because the campaigns all played fine. I loved the shit out of Halo 2 Anniversary. You already know that. And the Forge was cool. It wasn't great, but it was definitely cool to see all these new ideas like scripting and terrain get introduced. And, the multiplayer, when it was working, it was actually a really good game. I do think that the battle rifle in 2 Anniversary was complete bullshit with how you could fucking, it was basically a sniper rifle. It had no spread, but other than that, all the multiplayers for all 4 games worked cool. And I liked how you could actually play Combat Evolved. I thought that was a neat a neat thing they introduced. And the theater was great. Nice voice crack, Laura, you faggot. But yeah, that's ultimately how I feel about the Master Chief Collection. I definitely don't regret purchasing it. If 343 kind of didn't touch it anymore, I'd be okay with that, because I know they have Halo 5 to work on, and I love Halo 5's multiplayer so much, I'd rather them work on that and focus their attention there. So, that's all I have for you guys. That is my opinion on the Master Chief Collection. And leave in the comments below what you'd like me to talk about next. And, as always, remember to subscribe to the Halo Collective for news, media, and entertainment, and opinions on anything and everything Halo.